Hey guys, welcome to another movie review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the film While We're Young. It's an independent film that stars Ben Stiller, Naomi Watts, Adam Driver, and Amanda Seyfried. In this film, it focuses on a washed up documentary filmmaker who's played by Ben Stiller, and him and his wife aren't really too happy with their marriage. They claim that they are, but they're not really. Like they do the same thing all the time. Um, they don't have any children. They don't plan on having any children. They want to travel more than they do. They're trying to make their careers better than where they currently are. But things slowly start to get slightly better for them when they meet a younger couple who's played by Adam Driver and Amanda Seyfried. They attended a course or some type of like a special guest event at a college course where Ben Stiller's documentary filmmaker character attended to basically speak at about how to make a documentary film. And Adam Driver really liked, the speech, and they both connected on how to make documentaries. And so they become close friends really quickly, and their spouses become friends really quickly since they're both married. And Ben Stiller's character sees a lot of himself in Adam Driver's character, as he very much saw like a younger version of himself in this character. But what kind of makes the friendship muddy after a while is the fact that Adam Driver seems to know how to make a better documentary film than Ben Stiller. And since Ben Stiller's character really hasn't made anything good in a long time, he really feels jealous. He really feels like he is getting old, and that his youth is slowly disappearing before his eyes. And so the film slowly kind of becomes a battle of who can make better films and who's an overall better filmmaker, who understands film better, as these two men slowly make the friendship a little bit muddy by making a kind of a one-on-one competition who can make a better film than the other. And so the film really plays off of that after a while. So I really enjoyed this film, you guys. I know it really didn't get a much of attention just because it is an independent film, and it really didn't get a lot of mainstream attention because of that. But it really is a good film. It really has a lot to say about filmmaking and documentary filmmaking, and how it's important to stay up to date, and how older people might have a different perception on how to make a documentary film than a younger person, and how technology is changing all the time, and how to keep up to date with certain things, but still remain yourself, and remain yourself while learning those new forms of technology or new forms of entertainment or whatever is currently updated in our current modern society. So While We're Young kind of has all those things going for it. So for the positives and negatives of this film, I really liked how this film really showed the kind of the life of a documentary filmmaker. How sometimes documentaries will take very quickly to make. Sometimes they take several years to get made. Like Ben Stiller's character has been working on this one documentary for several years. It's extremely long. He has tons of footage for it, but really doesn't quite know how to distribute it, how to cut it down. So throughout the film, he's trying to figure out how exactly is he going to make this documentary. Is it even going to come out before he dies? Um, so the film really kind of plays off of how documentary filmmaking can either be a really quick process or an extremely long process, depending on what kind of project you take on. There were some pretty good jokes throughout the movie, but I want to say there's only some, because I will get into my negatives here in a little bit. But for the most part, there were some pretty good jokes here. So if you're looking for a good comedy, there is a few good jokes here every once in a while. I like how the film really has a older couples trying to live like younger couples kind of an approach to it. Ben Stiller and Naomi Watts' character really try to do this as they become friends with this younger couple, and they're trying to stay up to date with hip hop dancing and with films and with technology. And the two of them really like how this younger couple likes to hand make everything, and so they themselves try to do this more often because they really like doing it like this younger couple does. And so it's just kind of a neat approach on how this director really chose to take that approach with his story. I thought it was very interesting. I like how the film makes the point that technology moves along very quickly. This goes for the film industry, this goes for phones, this goes for computers, this goes for watches, this goes for how music is stored. We went from a CD player to an iPod to, whatever. And the film really plays off of just how quickly certain things move along, and that technology just kind of blows on by us to the point where none of us know how to use technology just because it updates itself so much. And so the film really plays off of that a lot. I like how the film really much was about, filmmakers helping each other. Before the whole Adam Driver, Ben Stiller friendship became muddy with that, the film really shows, kind of how filmmakers like to team up for projects. Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez like to do stuff like this. And so, very much these characters in this movie like to do this too. So, it really kind of gives it a sense of reality because a lot of filmmakers like to team up with each other for such projects. Charles Gordon from Beethoven's in this film too, and he likes to help out Ben Stiller's character too, since he's family with this guy. Um, so I really like how the film really makes the point how a lot of filmmakers in today's world, at least, really like to team up for stuff just to really get the film, make the film the best that it can, and really to have a second pair of eyes on some of these productions. I like how the film also tries to make the point too that fiction can sometimes sell over nonfiction, just because people like fiction over nonfiction. That with fiction, you can really kind of make it your own and make it your own story, and have an approach that doesn't so lock down. So I like how the film really plays off of how people are in love with the idea of fiction to the point where nonfiction material for films is almost non-existent at this point. For the negatives of While We're Young, because unfortunately there is a few of them. I feel like the plot goes on an occasional detour every once in a while. I loved the filmmaking aspect of this movie. I loved how this older couple and younger couple found things that they liked and didn't like with each other. But by the time the film took a detour from that plot line, such as they like attend this really weird religious ceremony that goes on for way too long, for example, and it kind of goes into like a daze like effect because of it. um, Things like that really make the film feel like it went on a plot detour, and it's really too bad because I think if the film really kept consistent the whole time, we really would have had quite a great film on our hands here. Some of the jokes do fall flat. There is a period in the film, specifically in the one I just mentioned, where they attend this like religious ceremony thing that goes on for way too long. That some of those jokes really fall flat. Like I said, there is some really good jokes here, but there's also some jokes that really fall flat in this movie. So that's kind of the downside of this movie. I also feel the film's about 15 minutes over long to overall. I think for an independent film like this, it's important not to go over the 95-minute mark. I believe this film does, and you really kind of feel the length because of it. I would think a film like this, it's such a simple concept. I think 95 minutes is more than enough for a film like this. And unfortunately, I think they do closer to 2 hours for this movie. But overall, I'm going to give While We're Young an 8.5 out of 10. It really does have a lot of interesting things to say, but things like plot detours, some flat jokes, and a film length that goes about 15 minutes longer than it should, wear the experience down a little bit. But it's enough to say that I would recommend going out to see this one. I wouldn't say buy it, but definitely rent it or see it in the theater if you can. Probably a good one watch kind of film. Maybe if it's on cable again, I might watch it again. But I really can't see myself returning to this one a lot either. So While We're Young, 8.5 out of 10 for me. Very good film. Like I said, it's worth seeing that one time, whether it's in a theater or through a rental. But at the same time, I really can't see myself watching this numerous more times. So I will see you guys here for a future movie review.